Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to SmackDown Review. And SmackDown tonight, I thought it was a decent show. It wasn't that bad of a show tonight. It wasn't great by any means, though, but it was decent. And I was watching the show tonight, and also I was watching the Swerve Show, his live stream. He did a watch along tonight for SmackDown. I was in his chat along with everybody else that joins his chat. Definitely subscribe to the Swerve Show if you guys haven't checked him out. Very nice guy, very funny. His streams are very entertaining. We have a lot of fun on them. He does reviews of Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, SmackDown, talks NXT also. He also brings the wrestling news, what's happening in the world of professional wrestling. So definitely give him a subscribe. I'm one of the mods in his chat, and if he's watching this video, I gotta say thank you for making me a mod in your chat. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So, but definitely give him a subscribe. Check out his videos. So, but if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded earlier today, I did a movie review of Tom and Jerry, which was released today on HBO Max and in theaters that are open around the U.S. But it was a very fun, enjoyable film. Definitely paid homage to the characters of Tom and Jerry. Just definitely check out my movie review if you guys haven't seen it. Like I said, uploaded it earlier today. So definitely give it a watch. So, but SmackDown tonight, we finally got an answer to who Bianca is going to be facing at WrestleMania. And it was the right decision. And, we all knew it was happening. So, but let's get on with the SmackDown review. So SmackDown opened up tonight with, of course, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Paul Heyman came out. We got a video package showing how Daniel Bryan won the Elimination Chamber last Sunday, and then how he lost his title shot to Roman. He lost his shot at the Universal Championship to Roman Reigns, which the SmackDown Elimination Chamber was pretty good. But when Daniel Bryan faced Roman Reigns after the match, it just made the Chamber match pointless because we all knew Daniel Bryan was going to lose to Roman anyway. But we saw a video package of that. And then we came back after the video package and we saw Roman in the ring. Roman ended up getting on the mic and he ended up saying that it's not a secret and that SmackDown needs him. And he also said that the same thing can be said about Elimination Chamber and that the Elimination Chamber needed him and that he answered the call. So Reigns went on about defeating Daniel Bryan and how he operates at a higher level than anyone else in the ring. And he also ended up saying, but this wasn't perfect because of one man. And that one man is Edge. So Reigns ended up admitting that Edge got one and that he hit the spear in his ring, in Roman's ring, on his night. He ended up saying then Edge pointed at the WrestleMania sign to make it official. And so he had edited crowd noise for the crowd cheering for that. But I'm not looking forward to Roman versus Edge at WrestleMania. It's this whole spear versus spear. Just right there, you could tell that Edge is going to lose. at WrestleMania. We all know what's going to happen. But Reigns ended up saying that Edge doesn't want it and doesn't need it in his life. So Reigns ended up saying that he's going to give Edge the chance to back out of the match and go back home to his family. He ended up saying that he is a father and a husband. And Reigns ended up saying that he doesn't want to hurt Edge. Reigns went on to say that he appreciates Edge's comeback and his legacy, but he just doesn't want to hurt him. So Reigns ended up telling Edge to get it through his thick head. A man like him, a man like Edge, just doesn't stand a chance against a man like Roman. And so then Daniel Bryan then came out. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that Roman really described his title defense on Sunday as nearly perfect. So Bryan ended up saying that he just had to come out and say that he agrees from his perspective. So Daniel Bryan ended up mocking Roman, saying some people think it was cowardly to come out and defend right after the Chamber match ended. And it makes him not a real champion at all. So Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he's not one of those people who doesn't come out and complain. He ended up saying those are just rumors he's heard, and that he was baffled by the head of the table defending the Universal Championship in the second match of the night instead of the main event. So Daniel Bryan ended up going on about Roman wanting to leave a legacy and says, here's a chance for him to prove the doubters wrong, to prove there's no comparison between Roman and Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan ended up proposing that him and Roman do battle at Fastlane for the Universal Championship. So J Uso then ended up stepping up to Daniel Bryan. He ended up asking Daniel Bryan why he's out here, and that all he hears is a bunch of excuses. Jay ended up saying that Daniel Bryan lost to the best of the best, and that if he wants to get another shot, he has to go through him. Daniel Bryan has to go through Jay. So Jay ended up warning Daniel Bryan to be careful, or he's going to get got. So Jey Uso then backed off. Reigns ended up stepping to Daniel Bryan a little bit closer. Reigns ended up asking if Daniel Bryan really wants him to hurt him again. So Daniel Bryan ended up going to respond to Roman, but Jey Uso ended up attacking Daniel Bryan out of nowhere. He elbowed Daniel Bryan. Jey Uso then ended up sending Daniel Bryan out to the floor, and he ended up sending Daniel Bryan over the barricade. So Jey Uso ended up walking away. Reigns ended up joining him, and pretty much that was basically that. But overall, typical Roman coming out every week, delivering a good promo, a good segment. But that was that. And then we had Sonya Deville backstage with Adam Pearce. She was talking about being excited for their options. So Edge ended up walking in. Edge ended up mentioning Daniel Bryan possibly getting a shot at the Universal Championship at Fastlane. So Edge ended up saying to Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce that they need to talk. So that was that. So then we saw Roman Reigns. Roman was talking to Jey Uso. Jey ended up apologizing to Roman, and he ended up saying that he couldn't just let Daniel Bryan disrespect him out there. So Reigns ended up telling Jey that there's nothing to apologize for as long as Jey gets the job done, and that's all that matters. Reigns ended up telling Jey to handle it. And so that was that. Roman ended up walking off. So then Edge was backstage with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. Edge ended up mentioning how he thought they wanted him and Daniel Bryan to face Roman and Jey at Fastlane. Adam Pearce ended up telling Edge that that was tentative, and before Daniel Bryan made the challenge to Roman. So Pearce ended up bringing up how Daniel Bryan could beat Jey to get into the Universal Championship match at Fastlane, and then have a bigger spectacle. But he ended up saying that the Universal Championship will still be important. So Adam Pearce ended up saying no disrespect. He meant no disrespect. So Edge ended up saying, none taken. And so that was that. So then we had Rey and Dominik Mysterio versus Otis and Chad Gable. Otis and Chad Gable, they both ended up turning heel last week. Otis is not believable as a heel. I will never buy him as a heel. So Rey and Dominik end up coming out. And this was, of course, a rematch from last week. Out came Chad Gable and Otis. So Chad Gable ended up getting on the mic. He ended up showing us how him and Otis end up getting DQ on the Mysterios last week. And Rey Mysterio had his ribs all taped up. So Chad Gable ended up having the replay shown again, but it was slowing down on Otis hitting the splash on Rey Mysterio. Otis was shown stomping around. It looked like it was so forced on Otis to do that, trying to make us believe that he could be this big heel, which he's not going to be that big of a heel. It just came off forced, with Otis just stomping away going, not believable. So the match was not that good in my opinion. So the match started off with Rey Mysterio trying to dodge Otis, but Otis ended up running down Rey Mysterio. Otis then ended up dropping an elbow to Rey. Otis then scooped Rey and tossed him across the ring. Otis ended up charging with a shoulder thrust to Rey in the corner. He was laying in some left and rights to Rey. Chad Gable ended up telling Otis to settle down, so Otis and Chad Gable don't get disqualified. So Gable ended up tagging in, and Gable had Rey on his shoulders, and Gable delivered a gutbuster. And in the end of the match, we had Otis end up dragging Rey into the corner. Otis catched Rey in midair, slammed him to the mat. Otis then went to the second rope and nailed a flying splash on Rey, and he went for the cover. There you go. Otis and Chad Gable end up winning the match. Overall, not that good of a match in my opinion. And like I said, Otis is not going to be believable as a heel. So then we had Apollo Crews end up coming out. Apollo Crews ended up turning heel last week. So Apollo Crews came out with a new attire. He was wearing a scarf with white and green stripes on it. And he was looking like, he's trying to be like MJF, where MJF ends up wearing the scarf. And you already know that possibly MJF on his social media is going to make a meme of Apollo Crews and the scarf. You can already tell at some point he's going to do it. So, that's MJF for you. But Apollo Crews ended up getting on the mic, and he ended up saying that a lot of people have been wondering what's going on with him lately and why the sudden change. And he ended up saying, to be honest, we know nothing about him. Apollo went on to say that he's been humble, nice, and respectful for far too long, and that he's not receiving the same respect in return. He ended up saying being who he is and who his family is, that's not acceptable. Apollo went on to say that he's not from the hood or the suburbs, and that he's actually from Nigeria, and that he's a real African American. And he ended up saying, this is who he is. This is the real Apollo. Apollo went on to say that his ancestors are Nigerian royalty. He went on about his great-grandfather ruling lands in Nigeria. He went to explain how the colors in his gear represent wealth, dominance, and power. So Apollo went on to say that Big E found that out last week, where Big E ended up telling Apollo to go back to catering. But Apollo ended up saying that he went back to his roots instead, and that he handled it like his grandfather would. So Apollo Crews was speaking with an accent, and his accent came out pretty good. And he was saying how he showed Big E the steel last week, and that he guarantees Big E will never disrespect him again. So Apollo went on to say that Shinsuke Nakamura will suffer the same. And that was Apollo Crews' promo, but this promo was really good from Apollo. Apollo Crews as a heel is awesome. He really needed this after his babyface persona was getting very stale for quite some time. So this is definitely a good thing for Apollo. I'm really liking what they are doing with Apollo, just from that heel turn last week and him delivering this awesome promo tonight. And from what he was speaking, with Nigeria and his family there, apart from saying that, I thought he was going to say Wakanda forever. That would have been cool. That would have been funny too. But Shinsuke Nakamura then made his way out. Nakamura ended up getting in the ring. Then Apollo Crews ended up attacking Nakamura from behind. Crews ended up grabbing the ring steps, and he waited to slam the steps on Nakamura. But the referee ended up getting in the way. Apollo Crews then yelled at the referee to get out of his way. And so SmackDown went to commercial. And then when SmackDown came back, we had Apollo Crews versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And this was a pretty decent match here. We had SmackDown came back from the commercial. Apollo Crews was shown beating down on Nakamura in the corner. He kept control of the match. He ended up whipping Nakamura into the turnbuckles. And then he delivered a suplex, which Nakamura landed on his head. Thank God he didn't land on his neck. But Nakamura ended up landing, a little bit on his forehead, on his head. But Apollo Crews ended up grounding Nakamura with a headlock. Nakamura ended up fighting back, but Apollo Crews then ended up grabbing Nakamura by his hair and then delivered a German suplex. So Nakamura ended up landing with his knees, and then he came right back up with a shot to Apollo's jaw. So at the end of the match, we had Apollo Crews delivering a slam to Nakamura, went for the cover, and Apollo Crews ended up winning the match. But overall, it was a pretty decent match here. Good win for Apollo Crews here. And then we have Paul Heyman backstage. Paul Heyman was telling Roman Reigns about Daniel Bryan possibly getting a shot at the Universal Championship at Fastlane if he beats Jey Uso tonight. Reigns ended up saying, so the tag match is scrapped. So Paul Heyman ended up telling Roman that if Bryan wins tonight. So that was that. And then we had Tamina versus Liv Morgan. This was boring. This is terrible. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott deserve better than being in this feud with Tamina and Natalya. At least we didn't get no Billie Kay tonight. That was a plus. That was a positive. But Tamina ended up winning. Tamina ended up hitting a tilt-a-whirl side slam on Liv Morgan. So, whatever. Moving on. So we had Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville in the ring. They end up talking about Bianca being the future and that she will make her WrestleMania decision after winning the Women's Rumble. So Bianca ended up coming out and she made her way down to the ring. Bianca ended up getting on the mic and she ended up mentioning the Rumble win changed her life. So Sonya Deville ended up asking Bianca, who will it be? Who will she pick to be her WrestleMania opponent? She ended up asking if it will be Asuka. So we got like a little video package of Asuka. And then Sonya ended up asking, or will it be Sasha? Will it be Sasha Banks? So we got a little video package of Sasha too. Bianca ended up saying that she knows everyone has been patiently waiting on her to make her decision. She ended up talking about how her mother told her life is all about making the right decision. So then we had Reginald come out. Of course, Carmella's sommelier, which Reginald needs to get off my TV. So Reginald ended up saying that Bianca's mother is right, because this decision will impact her future in the company. Reginald ended up talking about how Bianca got an up-close look at Sasha and how she works when she teamed with her last week. So Reginald ended up going on about how Bianca's journey has been inspiring and that she is special. Reginald ended up saying that he knows deep in his heart that Bianca's dream will dissolve quickly into a horrible nightmare if Bianca chooses to face Sasha. So Bianca then got in Reginald's face, and then Sasha ended up coming out. Sasha ended up telling Reginald how she already told him to never speak for her. So Sasha ended up pushing Reginald out of the way. So Sasha ended up telling Bianca that she's more than the champion and that she's the standard. And if Bianca wants to make history and be the topic of conversation, she should choose her. So Sasha ended up saying that she doesn't think Bianca is the EST of WWE because she is the best and she's number one, which makes Bianca second best. So Sasha ended up laughing. She dropped the mic. She raised the SmackDown Women's Championship. And Bianca ended up saying that she's going to make Sasha eat her words on the grandest stage of them all. So Bianca ended up saying that she is going to take the championship and show the whole entire world how she's the strongest, fastest, and everything else. So Bianca ends up pointing up at the WrestleMania sign, and she ends up telling Sasha that it's on. So there you go. We had the match already. Sasha versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. And the dream match is finally happening. So that's the dream match that everyone wanted to see, including me. As I predicted, oh yeah, we're going to get Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair sometime in the future. And it's finally happening at WrestleMania. I said it's going to be for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So it's going to be a great match at WrestleMania between Sasha and Bianca. So there you go. It's official. So then we had Corbin backstage. He was shown warming up. Sami Zayn and his documentary film crew appear. Sami Zayn ends up interviewing Corbin, and he asks Corbin what he thinks about the conspiracy against him. So Corbin ends up just wanting to know why they're teaming up. So Sami ended up saying that it was his idea. He ended up saying that he needs a big win, and that him and Corbin have chemistry. Sami ended up believing that they can eventually be champions if they work together. No. No, no, and no. Sami Zayn and Corbin as SmackDown Tag Team Champions, if it ever happens in the future, no. That would be terrible. So that was basically that. And then we had the Street Profits versus Sami Zayn and Corbin. This was a decent match here. This wasn't that bad of a match. We had Corbin, we had the Street Profits come out first, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, and then Corbin. And then Sami Zayn came out, of course, along with his film crew. Montez Ford ended up starting off the match with Sami Zayn. Sami was stalling a little bit in the match, but Sami ended up working Montez Ford over, and he put Montez Ford in the corner. Ford ended up coming back and delivered a deep arm drag to Sami Zayn. We saw Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, the Dirty Dogs, watching from the back. I can't stand that name, the Dirty Dogs. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to a hot dog stand in the city and say, oh yeah, give me a dirty dog. Give me some dirty dogs. Horrible name for them, Dirty Dogs. So they were watching the match backstage. They were mocking the Street Profits because they were drinking out of red cups. So at the end of the match, we had the Street Profits end up winning. Corbin got sent out to the floor. Angelo Dawkins ended up hitting a neck breaker on Sami Zayn. Montez Ford went to the top and delivered a frog splash onto Sami Zayn. So there you go. The Street Profits end up winning the match. And there was a point where Corbin was outside of the ring, and Sami Zayn's documentary film crew came in the way. He ended up pushing one of the guys, and he was like, "Stop filming me!" So that's when the Street Profits end up double teaming on Corbin, kicked him off of the ring apron. So, but overall, the match, it was decent. It wasn't that bad of a match, in my opinion. So then we had Caleb Braxton backstage with Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan was talking to Caleb Braxton about his chances of facing Edge at WrestleMania. And says they're pretty damn good. And that he just has to beat Jey Uso and Roman Reigns at Fastlane. So he ended up saying that he feels like he can beat Roman. Daniel Bryan went on to say about how he respects Edge, and he says he doesn't know if Edge has what it takes to beat Roman. So Edge ended up appearing, and they end up having a few words about who can beat who. Edge ended up asking who will win if they face each other at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he will keep the answer to himself. And he ended up saying, as fun as it is to talk about the possibilities, it doesn't matter if he can't beat Jey tonight. So that was basically that. So then we had Seth Rollins come out. Seth Rollins ended up marching down the ramp, and the whole embrace the vision. And Seth Rollins, in this whole gimmick here, it's not going to go anywhere, in my opinion. It's not going to go anywhere. Seth Rollins should have came back as a babyface. But I see this not going anywhere. This whole embrace the vision. So Rollins got on the mic and he ended up talking about the complaint that he sent to management last week. He said it got a great response and that it trended on social media. So then he got interrupted by Cesaro, and Cesaro then marched to the ring. He was looking ready to fight Seth Rollins. Rollins was just pleading with Cesaro, and he ended up talking about how they go back a long way together. Rollins ended up saying that what previously happened wasn't his fault, and that it won't happen again. So he ended up saying last week he didn't call Cesaro a loser, and that Twitter just blew what he said way out of proportion. Oh yeah, so Rollins is blaming it on Twitter. How lovely. So Rollins ended up asking for a chance to make it right. He went on about how Cesaro is a star. He ended up saying, who says Cesaro can grab that brass ring and crack that glass ceiling? So Rollins ended up going on about talking about Cesaro's strength and skills and says that Cesaro has it all. So why is it that he always seems to come up short? Rollins ended up asking what it is that Cesaro is missing. And Rollins ended up saying that he will tell him what it is because he has it, because Rollins has it. And that is killer instinct. So Rollins ended up saying that he has it and that he can give it to Cesaro. Rollins ended up saying that he came back to lead SmackDown into the future and that he will start by leading Cesaro if he will let him. So Rollins ended up saying that he has grabbed the brass ring and shattered the glass ceiling, and that he's done everything Cesaro has only dreamed of, and that he wants to give that to Cesaro. So Rollins ended up telling Cesaro to imagine them working together, and that they would be unstoppable. So Rollins ended up saying that if Cesaro would have listened 2 weeks ago, he would have ended up winning the Elimination Chamber, and he would have been the Universal Champion. So Rollins ended up mentioning a second chance and tells Cesaro to embrace the vision and let him lead. So Rollins ended up telling Cesaro that he doesn't have to answer now. He told Cesaro, you know what, take a week or 2 weeks. Just think it over and come back to me. Rollins ended up saying that he will be waiting and that he is ready. So Cesaro then ended up tackling Seth Rollins, and he did the Cesaro swing on Rollins. Rollins was yelling for Cesaro to put him down. So Cesaro starts swinging Rollins. He was swinging him again and again and again. He was swinging him a whole lot of times. So Cesaro ended up letting go. Seth Rollins was stumbling around. He felt dazed. So Cesaro then ended up hitting an uppercut to Seth Rollins. And that was that. Cesaro ended up getting out of the ring. But this was okay. Wasn't great by any means. Main event. Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. If Daniel Bryan end up winning the match, he gets to face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at Fastlane. And this was a pretty good match. This was a good main event. We had Daniel Bryan charged at Jey Uso, but Jey Uso ended up beating Daniel Bryan down into the corner. He delivered a shoulder to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan then ended up fighting back, worked on Jey's arm. Daniel Bryan ended up ducking a clothesline from Jey Uso, and he ended up dropping Jey with a running clothesline. Daniel Bryan delivered a running drop kick in the corner. He was delivering some yes kicks to Jey Uso. Daniel Bryan ended up taking Jey Uso up into the corner, hit the Frankensteiner, and went for the cover. And Jey Uso ended up kicking out at 2. And at the end of the match, we had Jey Uso end up driving Daniel Bryan knee first into the ring steps. They were both on the outside. So then the referee ended up counting to 10. He rung the bell. There you go. The match ended in a double count out. So post-match, Jey Uso ended up bringing Daniel Bryan back into the ring. Daniel Bryan then applied the yes lock on Jey Uso. Roman ended up coming out of nowhere and beat Daniel Bryan down. Daniel Bryan then ended up pulling Roman into the yes lock, but Jey Uso ended up making the save. Reigns ended up waiting in the corner for Daniel Bryan to get back up to his feet. Reigns then delivered a spear to Daniel Bryan and then applied the guillotine to Daniel Bryan. Reigns then ended up breaking the hold, breaking the guillotine, got back up to his feet. He ended up taking the Universal Championship from Paul Heyman. So Roman ended up talking some trash to Daniel Bryan, ended up standing over him, raising the Universal Championship in the air. And that was how SmackDown went off the air. But thank God we're not getting Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at Fastlane. Good decision there. Thank God. But overall, SmackDown was a decent show tonight. Wasn't that bad of a show. But anyways, that's it for my review of SmackDown tonight. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until next video, I'll see you all later.